Hi, everybody. John Farian here with Live Large Universe, and boy, do we have a show for you. So, Brett, how's it going, Brett?
Pretty good. How are you, John?
Good, good. Where you located? Tell everybody where you're located tonight.
I am located between Fairplay and Alma, Colorado.
So you're out in the beautiful state of Colorado. Like that's
So
some
pretty
that's
much the central part of the state.
yeah, and that's high elevation, right? Like what elevation do you live at? Most of us dream of snowmobiling
So
at that elevation, probably, and you already live there. What's your elevation you're at?
I live at 10,300
Wow,
feet.
that's amazing. So guess what my elevation? I'm gonna let you guess what my elevation is where I live.
700 feet.
You're close, but it's even lower than that. I'm at 400 feet of elevation above sea
Wow.
level is where I live. And then when I get up to go riding, I'm usually up close to, I don't know, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 feet of elevation is where we ride at. And so I got to
Right.
go up to below where you even are at in order to find riding. So,
Well, I
man,
wish I had the horsepower at 3 or 4,000 feet.
I got to tell you, it's nice. It's nice for sure. So I got out for my
Definitely.
first ride this weekend and put a few miles on the sled with our club, the Cascade Drift Skippers. Had a good time. And you and I were chatting just a minute ago, and it sounds like you gave it a shot. You gave it the old college try. How
Yeah,
did it
it
go?
was it was actually my second ride, but I ended up with some throttle cable issues and whatnot, and just called it a road ride.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Brett, I'm going to ask everybody here who's watching. We got some folks starting to come in and to watch the show here live. And as you do that, I would ask that you guys go into the comment section and just let us know where you're watching from. It's that simple. And I would also love to know if anybody here who's watching tonight has already entered the Avalanche. Where's it? Right there, Avalanche Alliance, Brett. Avalanche Alliance. You've heard of it?
Yeah, they're giving away a Polaris sled, Marlin sled deck, some
Yep.
other goodies.
Yep. So we got all kinds of prizes. I'm going to walk everybody through that in just a moment. But guess what, everybody? In the show notes here is a link to the Avalanche Alliance sweepstakes. And if you're watching this show live right now, you have 4, maybe 5 hours. So midnight tonight, we have the Avalanche Alliance sweepstakes is closing out. It's your last chance, and you get 40% more entries with your link that you can have here. So it's Live Large 40 is the promo code. You can just click the link that I've provided, and you can definitely get in there and do that. And so I'm flashing up this amazing prize. So I'm just to mess with everybody, like just so they're paying attention. Guess what? Polaris 850 Turbo Snowmobile is up for grabs. This is a $30,000 build. The sleds nowadays, geez, they're over 20, almost 25 grand to begin with, and then you throw on top of it all these goodies from Ice Age and from SLP and from Seat Concepts and you name it. Zollinger Racing, I believe, has got some stuff on there too. There's so many goodies on this thing; it's just incredible. And then let's go here next. We're going to talk about the Marlon sled deck that you mentioned. So that's our first place prize after the grand prize of the snowmobile, and that's a $6,200 value. People can continue to go ahead and sign up for that as well. And again, just your entry is going to get you in on all these prizes. So there's 5 different big prizes. ZR200 from Artie Cat. This is a kids youth sled. Kids, I don't know, anywhere from probably 5 years old, maybe 6, 7, 8 years old, all the way up to, preteens, if you will, up to maybe 12, 13 years old can ride this pretty easily. And that's going to be a great prize for someone with some kids in the family. And then we have Climb. They've given away, or going to be giving away, a beautiful complete head to toe outfit package here. It's their monosuit, their helmet, their goggles, their boots, the avalanche pack. All of that is up for grabs as well. And then finally, Ortovox is the one who's giving away the final prize here, if you will, and that's an avalanche pack, beacon shovel probe, whole safety kit that you can get available there as well too. So pretty amazing stuff, Brett. What do you think? You gonna get? Did you get in? I mean, come on, tell me you at least bought one ticket.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, I got in. I bought last year. I bought this year. Get
Awesome,
your
awesome, awesome.
tickets, 40% more.
Yep,
Got
yep.
4 or 5 hours left. Do it.
And if you guys don't already know, all of the proceeds that come from this sweepstakes, all the money that we raise with this sweepstakes, goes to avalanche centers across the country. So if you have an avalanche center somewhere in the United States that you use, they have eligibility to apply for motorized focused grants against this money that we have. And then also, ARI takes about $30,000 a year and applies it to the scholarship that I started, which was called Live Large University Scholarship Program, and that's for motorized avalanche education with professionals, recreationalists. Brett, even you, somebody who's out there trying to make an influence in the sled industry and have a following. you were eligible to be able to get in to apply for a scholarship against the money that we raise as well too. So honestly, it's open to
Sweet.
just about anybody that's out there. And then again, if you guys are watching, make sure you go in here. I see Bikeman's Performance is watching even tonight. So one of our sponsors of the show, you can see we got their logo up here with Torque Link. So Bikeman, thanks for tuning in. That's awesome. We also have a share and win contest going on right now too. And that's going to be the Mountain Lab saws. So we have a Mountain Lab folding handsaw and a I keep saying it wrong, Mountain Lab backcountry chainsaw. Both of those items will go out to the winner for sharing the show out. So help us get the message out. We'll talk about Avalanche Alliance sweepstakes, of course, here. But more importantly, we got Rocky Mountain sled conditions to talk about tonight. Are you ready for that, Brett?
Yep. Let's
Man,
do it.
man. I hope somebody who's watching the show gets in to win that Alliance sweepstakes and that they win the grand prize. I'd love for that to be the case. So
Oh, that'd be great.
use that promo code LiveLarge40 and get yourself extra 40% extra tickets. So very good. So Brett, I was cruising back in September around Heydays and just walking around. If I remember right, it was kind of getting dark and there was somebody lurking around your booth. And so I went over and I says, "Hey, who's over here? How's it going?" And I introduced myself and you introduced yourself. And that was the first time we got to meet in person.
Yep, that it was. I was actually just surfing through some social media stuff and saw you came up, chatted a while. It's good talking with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you been to Heydays previous years or was that your first time there?
I've been to Heydays several times, but not as a vendor. That was my first year as a vendor, and it went fantastic. It was a great showing.
Yeah, it's quite an experience, isn't it? It's such an amazing event every year, and the whole sled industry comes together for it. So
Yeah, they put on an absolutely incredible event. Really kicks off the season. Um, it was good to be there.
awesome, awesome. And so I have to laugh a little bit about like our show and our show notes here a little bit because I think of this analogy that I've seen used over and over and over again into what is the pathway to success, right? And if you ever seen that diagram of what the pathway to success
Right.
looks like, it's like a bunch of curly cues and ups and downs and roundabouts and stuff, and you finally go from
Yep.
over here and then you swirl around and then you end up over here, and that's quote unquote success, right? And I think about your journey of going from all these different states that you've lived in, back and forth, riding, chasing your dream, moving back. You're going to talk us through that, but tell us a little bit about like yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're about, and kind of your path of how you ended up in Colorado, because it's quite a story.
So I'm 51 years old, married, got four kids, and I grew up around Des Moines, Iowa. Spent probably up till my mid 20s there, except when I was 19, I headed for Colorado. That was about a 4 month stint before I went broke and homesick and all that jazz. Back to Iowa. And then, I was determined I was going to get back to Colorado eventually, but I met my wife in Michigan, ended up living in Michigan for 2, 3 years, maybe 4 years. And then, the economy kind of crashed there in '07, '08. We moved back to Iowa. It was a little more stable and worked in a body shop there that I'd worked in before. And then I started a mechanic shop of my own and had that for about 5 years. Pretty successful, put food on the table and whatnot. And a job out here in Colorado in Fairplay came open for a mechanic, and I jumped on it. I took the chance and packed up and headed out. But I did it solo.
It's a little bit scary in life. I think we all come to that moment in our lives where there's kind of this call it the poop or get off the pot thing, right? Where it's like
Yep.
I have this vision, I have this dream, I want to go chase, and that moment that you make the decision, you're like, oh my gosh, I hope I made the right decision, and you took that leap of faith and made the big move out to Colorado, and here you are enjoying life and
Yep.
enjoying
And
the snow and
I decided I was going to do a little different the second time. Like I said, I came out solo, and that's really kind of what gave me the time to put together this Rocky Mountain Sled Conditions deal. It started out as a Facebook page, but I'm a body and paint guy by trade. I mean, that's pretty much what I've done all my life.
yep.
I've had a little bit of computer stuff here and there, but mainly self-taught to do the social media and the websites and the apps and all that stuff. but yeah, starting out, it was a Facebook page that I started because I basically had too much time on my hands and thought I better do something good with it. And I decided I was going to give snow conditions for a lot of the popular riding areas out west. Of course, it started out
Yeah.
mainly a lot of Colorado, but I had Togety and I had McCall and I had some of the bigger places in some of the other states.
Yeah.
Um, it didn't really get to where it is now until a few years later because it was just a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Um, I developed my own website while I had that page going and whatnot, but it was pretty amateur, kind of clunky and whatnot. And it wasn't until 3 years, it would be 3 years in March, I think, that I had a professional website built. Matthew Vermeer, you probably heard of him.
I know. He
He's
actually
in
is part
his
of the Avalanche
involved in
Alliance. Yeah. So he's.
exactly. He's
Yep.
involved in Avalanche Alliance and whatnot. He got my website built up, and it was quite the task because at the time I had Cass Mercer with me. She was helping me out, and we were trying to get this tailored to the way we wanted it, and going back and forth with Matt, and still trying to get it launched while there was snow on the ground. It was quite the feat, and we got it done. But it turns out it was probably still a little late in the year to launch a website on this deal,
Yeah.
as a lot of my followers are out of the Midwest, and by March they're kind of out of the thinking of Sled Not West. Uh, you could probably tell them that's the big secret that there's a lot of sledding that goes on after March,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
but
Shh. Don't
we
tell
we
anybody.
kind of like that as locals out here. But so yeah, anyway, once the website got kicked off and whatnot, and it was a website based off of selling subscriptions and free content, and the subscription money and the advertising money is what allows me to pay for stuff that runs the website and whatnot, and to add more stuff to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Um, I also donate to Avalanche centers and whatnot when I can, and I think I have like 10 snowmobile club memberships right now, which I think are coming up to be renewed, so that'll be something to do again. But everybody needs to check their snowmobile club membership and get that renewed. But anyway, yeah, that's once it was a website, it became pretty much a real deal to me. I was putting everything I had into it, as I still am now.
Yeah.
Um, Last season was the first season that I updated what I call the condition boards daily, um, and that was a big help on my part, actually. And I know everybody else enjoyed it, but doing them daily kept me more in tune with the snowpack and what was
Yeah.
going on and whatnot. Whereas if I did them every 1 to 3 days or 4 days maybe or something, a lot changes in 3 to 4 days on the mountain. You get some warm weather come in, you get a lot of settling. You might get some ice, you might get even some rain, especially in your areas. You just had some rain just recently.
Well, it's happening right now up there. Unfortunately, we
Right.
had some pretty decent snow Saturday when we were up there. It started out in the morning, kind of decent, and then by Saturday afternoon, it was snowing pretty good. But then by evening, it changed to rain, and I think it's been raining up there most of the time since. So,
Yeah, unfortunately it has.
boo! Do you have
it,
any
it'll
control?
go back.
Do you have any control
Yeah,
over the weather, or do you just report
I
it?
have I have zero control over the weather, and I don't even try to predict the weather. Um,
Brett,
I have no
what the heck are you
meteorology
good?
back.
What the heck are you good
Yeah,
for then? If you can't make it snow up there, why would I even bother? No, I'm just messing with you. It's like the weather,
yeah.
man, right? It's like you can't get it right all the time, but you're not
I
predicting it. You're
I
just reporting it.
I definitely try to steer away from forecasting because I don't have a meteorology background or
Yeah.
anything. I'm just a hobbyist that's done this since I was, 8 years old or whatever. Just kind of a weather nut, and that kind of leads into how Rocky Mountain sled conditions idea kind of came about. Um, I'm a big weather fanatic, mostly snow, but I like all types of weather. And I'm a big snowmobiler. I really enjoy it. I like getting out in the mountains. When I lived in the Midwest, I was riding ditches and riding rivers and stuff like that.
Yep.
So I got my, I guess I'll back up a little bit. I did get my first sled kind of late in life. It was mid to late 20s.
Okay.
I was up at Heydays and bought me a 98 Summit 670X, 136-inch track, 2-inch paddle, and that was going to be my mountain sled, to go out west with. And turns out it was a little better for the ditches in the river than it was out west, but it'd still do pretty good out here.
Yep. Nope. Absolutely. And so, just this passion for, the weather bug that you have. Because here's the thing: is you don't get into something like you're doing without having some kind of just a personal interest. Like, for me to
Oh,
go and
absolutely.
and chase weather and all that stuff too. And so, do you have an idea of like where your original fascination with weather and snow and all that came from? I mean, is something as a young kid that you kind of stumbled
It
into or stumbled across, or no?
right. It had to be just started at a real young age. I know my parents threw me on a backpack when I was like a year old and went
Okay.
out towards your area, California, Washington, Oregon area, did some backpacking and whatnot. So that exposed me to a lot of weather. But I can remember when I was like 5 or 6, I was out in the wintertime digging snow forts in the biggest snowdrifts I could find and just sitting in there. My mom's like, the wind chill's -60. You need to come inside. And I'm like, no, I'm perfectly fine. I mean,
Yeah.
so I've always enjoyed, and even thunderstorms. I mean, being from the Midwest, thunderstorm chasing is kind of a big thing. Plus, it's just a real neat thing to see come across the plains.
Yeah.
Um, it's kind of neat out here too because of the sounds when you're 10,000 feet up and you hear thunder. It's way different than Iowa or Washington or whatever at lower elevation.
Yeah. Nope, that's crazy, crazy. So, you've been doing this for a while. You kind of talked a little bit about kind of how you got into it. Do you want to start diving into kind of what's available for folks on the website and
Sure.
kind of what thing? And actually, as you do that, give me just a second. I'm going to actually, we didn't really talk about this, but I'm going to actually go and do a screen share here, and I'm going to show people your website as we're talking. And so,
Oh, there
what
you go.
what people are seeing right now is your homepage. And so, if you can kind of verbally talk through your homepage a little bit, people can kind of see it as you're talking about it right now.
All right, so on the homepage, you've got a menu all across the top, or you can scroll down and there's different boxes you can click on the way down. Plus, there's sliders that you can go right or left off the top of the homepage. But anyway, uh, we're offering a lot of content here. There's two parts to it. There's a paid area and there's a free area. And the paid area is labeled on the menu. It's paid content. And what's under that is the two snow conditions boards. One's the Rockies and one's the Cascades, Sierra Nevadas. Those are pay. And then the interactive snow map that's new this year is also pay.
Okay.
Everything else on the website is free. You can go to the writing pages. There is Snowtel on the writing pages. There's webcams on the writing pages. There's trail maps. There's parking info. There's snowmobile club info. There's search and rescue info. Um, Several different things. There's avalanche links to get you to the right avalanche centers to check your forecast. Um, I plan on putting maps back up. I had to pull them down because that was causing an issue with my server. I had avalanche.org on every one of my writing pages, and there's like over 90 of them.
Got it.
So it was actually causing an issue with speed and crashes and stuff. So I had to pull those down. But anyway, I'll figure something out on that probably yet this season. The links are there, but you need to go read the forecast anyway that way. Um, there is some avalanche providers listed. Talks a little briefly about avalanches, but not like Matt N's class or anything. It's just kind of give you a rundown. There's also a store you can buy T-shirts and hats and whatnot. I haven't really pushed that a lot lately because I've been busy with everything else. Um, what else is on there?
Yeah, as you're talking it through them, I'm clicking through it, and everybody's able to kind of see what you're talking about. So this is a good visual for what's all on the
Oh,
page there.
there's
So
yeah, there's a link for the app. It kind of shows and talks about the apps. I have apps for Apple and Android. That was quite the feat getting that done last year because of me not knowing how to build apps, having to teach myself how to do apps, and then having to deal with the app stores.
wow, nice.
the 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 Android app was not a problem at all. The Apple app, they were pretty critical on some stuff, and it mainly had to do with the subscriptions. They didn't want subscriptions to be able to be bought through the app off the website because, of course, they lose their fee that way.
Yeah.
So I had to curtail some of the pages and whatnot so that that option wasn't there on the app. Also have supporters advertisers. So there's products, services, and lodging. Uh, they're advertisers. They advertise on my site, help support me. Shout
Nice.
out to them. Um, what else? And then there's the interactive map, I guess, is the really big thing currently this season because I used to take screenshots of future snowfall amounts, and then I would take the future snowfall amounts and take screenshots, and then I would have writing area overlays that I had to put over the top of them, and that just created quite a bit of work for me. So the interactive maps really help. And the other nice thing about them is I have a lot of writing areas listed on the boards, but if your area isn't one of those areas, then you're not getting a number thrown out there for you for snow conditions and whatnot. But with the interactive map, you can click anywhere you want on the map and get those values.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I've jumped back now to just you and I on
Some
camera again here too. So I've left the website and we're got just us back up here again chatting away. So
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I
no, that's okay.
accidentally clicked mute.
Nope, nope. We could hear you pretty much the whole time. So all good. So
Good.
cool. So
So
yeah,
where
like
did
great products and everything going on there too. Through most of everything you talked through, it was up there, and then I just here just a minute ago switched back to just the cameras with us, and it looks like there's two different paid options here. You have like a annual option and a monthly option. Can you explain the difference on those?
Correct. So they both get the same content. I just offer a monthly because there was a demand for it. Obviously, the yearly is the better deal, and all subscriptions are reoccurring unless you turn off auto bill or you cancel the subscription. And once your subscription is billed, when you cancel, it doesn't mean you lose access. You just get to continue your subscription time amount, and then it won't renew automatically. Um, but yeah, 4.99 a month is probably kind of catered towards the guys that are coming out west for maybe a week or two or a couple days or whatever, and they can kind of watch the storms come in before they go or
Yeah.
when they're out there or whatever. Um, it's had in the beginning, I had several different subscriptions, and it seemed like it was a little complicated. So I just simplified it. I would really like just to go to a yearly subscription, but I there's the demand for the monthly, and I think that's fair. So they will stay, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I would imagine over the years that you've been doing this, that you've been able to incorporate a lot of people who've used it, their feedback, and you've been able to make adjustments. Can you give an example or two of like some adjustments you've made based on consumer feedback that you've gotten on the website, or no?
Oh, definitely. The interactive map was part of that. People were kind of wanting more of a um, technical map that was more usable, kind of more personal, I guess you could say. The
Yeah.
other thing is writing areas. I get suggestions for writing areas all the time. Um, and it's kind of weird how I select writing areas. I literally go to the state's snowmobile associations or clubs and kind of see where the popular areas are for that state. Because obviously, I don't know all these areas. I know Colorado, Wyoming pretty good. I know a little bit of Utah and Montana, not much Idaho. But um, anyway, that's how I kind of researched and what to put on.
Okay.
And it worked pretty well for the Rockies. Now, for your areas out there in Washington, Oregon, and California and Nevada, um, it was a little harder because I wasn't very familiar at all. And I had to do a lot of research to even get probably close to what I need to put on the boards. But I've been told there's some other areas I'm missing on there that I need to get on there. So that'll be happening later this season, probably through the summer. Um, and there might be some areas that don't really need to be on there either, that just aren't that significant, or they're kind of too close to others, duplicates or whatever. I try to give conditions for a general area. I'm not trying to give conditions for XYZ Gulch
Yeah.
in somebody's honey hole riding area or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
When it says Grand Lake, that could be anywhere from the town of Grand Lake clear to the other side of the mountain where it meets the highway on the other side.
Yeah.
There's a lot in between. So I'm not out to ruin anybody's riding areas or anybody's honey holes, but I do know that, some people consider rabbit ears their place to ride and whatnot, and or Buff Pass or
Yeah.
whatever. Even though they're big areas and popular areas, it's created some friction here and there. But it's all national forest, and it's all owned by the people somewhat, hopefully,
Yeah.
still.
Well, it's kind of funny because there's times where I'm pretty active on social media and I post a lot of times where I'm writing and stuff too. And once in a while I catch a little heat from different folks too about like, well, yeah, that was a great writing area until John told everybody about it. And here's
Yeah,
here's my attitude. Like, you know what? If you're, I'm saying you as in anybody who's really wants to complain, right? If that person wants to complain about someone else going in and finding their little honey hole or their zone, then they need to up their skills and find a new spot a little deeper in, because if they can't get in and ride into areas yet that are beyond where the average rider can go, then that's on them. That's not on anybody else, right? It's like
yeah,
it's
I totally agree. Um,
it's
I
like,
do
oh no, this
sympathize.
yeah
I
it's
sympathize a little bit because as I get older, I'm kind of a creature of habit and do kind of the same
yeah,
spots or the same areas or
yep,
whatever. But I do like to get out and find new places. And, honestly, I've been up at Rabbit Ears here in Colorado when the parking lot was jam packed.
yep.
And yes, it's a pain, but I got on my sled. I got a mile from the parking lot and I didn't see anybody.
That's
So,
usually the way
I
it
mean, there's
goes.
a
Yep,
lot of area out there.
yep, yep. Absolutely, absolutely.
And if you get out there first, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. First tracks. Get up at 5 in the morning and get your headlights on your sled rolling and get out there and tear it up early. So
I've also kind of had a saying: if you didn't track it today, you wasted it when it snows again.
there you go. There you go. Well, anybody who's watching, if you haven't already, drop it in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. And also, we're going to wrap this up probably not too long here. So if you guys have any questions for Brett, drop those in the comments now, and I'll try to catch those here in the next few minutes as we get going. But Brett, is there anything else, whether it be about kind of how you've developed all of this, or kind of anything about your website, or what you're trying, your mission, or what your goals are with this program, that you want to cover then before we start going into maybe some thank yous and how people can find you?
Sure. Well, I'm trying to put out snow conditions that are realistic for people that don't have a lot of access to that. I mean, obviously, a lot of this information I'm putting together and putting out there is accessible by everyone. There's a few things that I use that's not. There's some pay weather sites and whatnot. Obviously, I had these maps developed, and they do use their own. The maps use some of the same as the National Weather Service, NOAA, and all that stuff, but they have an algorithm that they've built into these maps. The guys at High Point Weather, shout out at them. They did a fantastic job with the maps. So far this year, they've been pretty accurate. The only thing I can say is the amount of snow they show on the ground tends to be really conservative. So if it's showing 40 inches at some riding area, it's probably more like 50 or 60 inches. You can usually add 10, 20 inches at times. Sometimes when we get deeper in the winter, it may be even more. I remember one year Buff Pass was showing like 60 inches on the snow tell, and there was like 110 inches in
Wow.
places. So uh, that's another thing I was going to talk about. Snow tells don't always tell the story. Um, they're a good place to start. Uh, Oddly enough, I've used them so much. I usually use them at the end of when I'm doing my totals and whatnot to just kind of double check some things because I'm getting it from other areas. Um, there's a lot of data out there if you know where to look. Webcams are a fantastic way to kind of put an eye on it, and those are
Absolutely.
all on the site. I may be missing a few webcams, but I think I have quite a few of a lot of the areas. And some areas just don't have that. They don't have webcams. They don't have SnowTel. They don't. I mean, like Nevada, you get into some Nevada, and I don't even really have trail map info and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's kind of the Wild West. You're on your own type of deal. But
Yep.
yeah, the goal is to get people out to ride and have fun and do it safely. And at Rocky Mountain Sled Conditions, we do push avalanche safety, avalanche awareness, avalanche classes, for anyone that's riding out in the mountains. Even if you're riding trails, you should know about avalanches. You should actually have a class on avalanches. There's a lot of trails that go through avalanche debris fields. Um,
100%. Yep.
and you could think that you're totally safe and somebody cuts above you or natural comes down and buries you right on the trail.
Nope, it can happen, and I've seen it, or even in our area out here in Washington, where you ride up in the morning and you're on a groomed trail, and by the time you come back down in the afternoon after the temperatures have warmed up and the snow has changed,
Yep,
natural slides have been triggered, and the trail's buried in an avalanche as soon as you come back through, and it's just a matter of timing and luck that people aren't on the trail at the point that that avalanche came down, and so. Yeah, you can never have enough education, not enough training, which is why I'm so passionate about what I'm doing. It's why you're so passionate about what you're doing. Is we're really trying to make sure that we have information out there for the public to use. The sweepstakes, for example, that we're doing, it's all about focusing on avalanche centers who are giving us the information, people getting avalanche training. So I mean, that's really what this whole sweepstakes program is about, and why kind of I
absolutely.
started doing what I was doing 5.5 years ago was around the idea of safety and education in backcountry snowmobiling. So here we are, this many years later, and we're still at it, both of us. So
Yep, there you go. One thing back on the website,
sure,
with the subscriptions that you buy on the website, they are good on the website and the app.
okay,
The login's the same on both. Um, it's cheaper on the website than it is through the app. You can buy it on the app, but it goes through the app store. It's $5 more, 25 of a year instead of 20, and there's no 4.99 option on the apps.
gotcha.
But anyway, that's that. Everybody check out the website. And I mean, you don't have to buy subscriptions. Like I said, there's a lot of free stuff, and a lot of it will allow you to find some of those stashes yourself if you want to do the legwork.
Very good.
The pay stuff, I just do all the legwork, and you just have to look at it.
Awesome. And so the website I've put in the show link here. So the message that's went out to everybody, if you go back and read it, the website is there. But why don't you also verbally tell everybody what your website is, your at website address?
Yes, it's www.rmsc.roc or ROSCKS rocks.
Rocks.
That's the amount.
Yep.
Yeah.
There you
So
go.
dot rocks. RMSC.rocks.
There you go. There you go. Very good. And I bet you got some people in your life that you'd like to say thank you or acknowledge, that's helped you over the years and maybe currently. So feel free to share out any shout outs or thank yous you want to give to anybody.
Absolutely. First, I want to thank all my followers, all my subscribers. They've all been behind me the whole time. I mean, I started the Facebook page in 2015, started the website in 21, I think it was, of March, and everybody's been real supportive. I want to thank Alicia Grace. She is my Instagram, TikTok person. She handles all that. I also want to thank all my sponsors, supporters from my website, the advertisers. They help out a lot to keep things going. Obviously, thank my wife for putting up with me taking hours away from our time to keep things rolling on this. Here a couple weeks ago, I had some server issues with the website and it was crashing all the time. And I spent hours and hours and hours for like 3 days to get things fixed up. So,
Wow.
big thanks to her. And let's see, who else? I think that's about it.
And
I'm
everybody
sure I've
else.
forgotten somebody, but yeah,
Yep.
and everybody else.
And
Just
everybody
cover it
else.
all.
Just cover it all, right?
But yeah, I mean, it's Cass Mercer passed away here a few years ago, and she helped me out in the beginning. She was a lot of big support on me to keep going with the idea because at times it just didn't seem worth it.
Yeah.
It was it was definitely a lot of work. But we all know nothing comes easy, and I think I'm over that hump for the most part. I'm just creating and adding new stuff to make lives easier and safer.
Gotcha, gotcha. Cool. Well, Brett, keep chasing that dream, and we'll say thank you to everybody who's been watching tonight. And just as a quick reminder, like literally, there's probably roughly 3 to 4 hours, maybe about 4 hours left of the Avalanche Alliance sweepstakes. If you're watching it live right now, so it's December 10th today. Ends midnight. I think it's midnight Mountain Time if I remember right. But if you click on the link, it'll tell you whether the sweepstakes is closed or still open. There's a link here in the show that you can say that you can click into. That's Live Large 40 is the promo code, and you can get access to 40% more entries than you would just through a traditional clicking of the link. And that 40% is the highest that we've offered all the way through, except for if you were a previous donor, you got a secret email from being a previous donor that gave you an even better discount on that, or a better promotional fee on that yet too. But for the general public who hasn't already subscribed and didn't get that email, 40% is your biggest one. And right now you're looking at this amazing prize. It's this 2023 Polaris Boost Turbo with all the goodies on it. And then you have a Marlon sled deck as well. We'll show you that again. And then once you get done with the Marlon sled deck and you've already loaded your beautiful Polaris snowmobile on there, then you can get set up with a kid snowmobile right beside it on the sled deck, a ZR200. That's our next prize. And then we have the climb outfit. You got to be able to have your climb gear to be able to ride if you're going to be out on that Polaris. And there's a whole package here for that as well too. Again, monosuit, helmet, goggles, boots, Avi pack, all of that. And then finally, Ortavox is thrown down with this amazing rescue kit as well. So get your sweepstakes entries tonight, the last few hours if you're watching this live, and maybe if you see it later tonight. If you watch this tomorrow on 12/11 or later, it's already too late, but then you can tune in. So, Brett, we're going to be on Snow West Magazine's Facebook page and their YouTube channel live. We're going to simulcast it live on both aspects there on
Excellent.
December 18th, which I believe is Monday, not this coming Monday, but the following Monday. It's a week and a day later. We're going to give away all those prizes. I'll be on there with Ryan Harris, Dustin Pancari from Climb. We're actually going to have, I believe, Matt Enns and Dan Adams on there as well. We're going to pull a whole group of people together to do a little bit of a broadcast on the Snow West Magazine's Facebook page live or their YouTube channel live. And I'll be in the background with the software I'm using here doing the show tonight to produce the whole thing. So I'll be in the background. If you don't see my face, just know I'm on the background making it all happen. So awesome.
All right, I got one more person to thank, one more
Sure.
group.
Go for it.
I've got about 30 ambassadors through
Oh,
the
nice.
West and the Midwest, and they have done a fantastic job of getting my company's word out and promoting safety and avalanche safety and get out and ride and all that. So I've got to thank them. I
Perfect.
appreciate it.
Perfect, perfect. Well, everybody, final words I tell everybody is God bless you and have an amazing night. And don't forget to live large. Get out there and get some snow in under your belt. So, Brett, you can hang on for a minute and I'll see you on the flip side here. Thanks. Have a good night,
Excellent.
everybody. Bye.
Have a good night.